From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
My name is Jeremy.
Your name
We're here to
is
talk
Jeremy.
about some fun stuff that I think we all need to talk about.
We do. You know, we could start this off with stories of woe, but I'm sure they'll come up as time goes by.
They will. We'll have a stories of woe episode.
Yeah, probably. We probably could do a whole episode.
I think we could.
So one of the fun parts about racing is when you have a dedicated race car, it is by definition not a street car. And that leads us to the topic of trailers and towing. And I don't know about you, Mr. Jeremy, but I had never towed anything. Maybe I had towed a line, but, that was gym class. Towing was foreign. Knowing anything about towing was foreign. Having a truck was not the highlight of my life. We'll go with that. And reverse is like the most unnatural thing in the world when you have a trailer. So besides that, I loved everything about trailering and towing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's great. It's a fun thing.
Is it?
So trailering and towing, there's some basics, there's some do's and don'ts, there's some things you want to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, towing is a very dangerous thing for you to be doing, especially when you get distracted in the vehicle. Just because your vehicle can pull something doesn't mean it can stop it. So you always want to be aware of what you have behind you when you're towing. We're going to go into some things. We're going to kind of start. We have a list of things that we're going to kind of touch on. But honestly, before you start towing, before you load a car onto your trailer, the habit that I have forced myself to get into is I check over my trailer from front to back, bottom to top every time I tow. And by that I mean I check to make sure tire pressures are good. I check to make sure my lug nuts are tight. Not necessarily every time I tow, but I'd say probably every third time I tow, I jack the trailer up and I check to make sure my wheel bearings are good.
How do you do that?
So I jack the trailer up, and trailer wheel bearings are similar to car wheel bearings in that when one of them is bad, you're going to feel it in your hands a lot of times, or loose. So most trailer wheel bearings, you can pull a cotter pin out and tighten up the nut, put the cotter pin back in, re-grease it, and you're good to go. So if the wheel, when you jack it up, you grab the wheel from top to bottom and you shake it and it moves around, that means you got a loose wheel bearing. So you want to pull your cap off. You want to pull your cotter pin out, tighten it up, make sure it still rotates very good, but it's not loose, and then put it all back together. I check my lights, hook it up to the truck to make sure that all the lights are working. So that's a habit of, I check the trailer from front to back, bottom to top to make sure that everything is good and safe.
Do you ever torque the lug nuts?
I do every single time I tow.
I do ever since my wheel passed me.
Yeah, that's not a fun thing.
No, it was not a fun thing.
No, to be driving down the road and looking out your window and seeing your tire go past you.
Yeah, they're fast, man. They're really fast.
Well, Bill, when you're only doing 35 miles an hour, of course.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow. No, I was lucky enough to be doing like 60. It was great.
So before we dive into all the different stuff, that's a habit. Everybody has their own ways, their own checklists of looking at their trailers, doing what they do with their trailers.
I would say that everybody should have their ways.
Correct.
This is not something speaking as the never towed dude, I had no idea what to do, which is half the reason why we're doing this and probably doing more than one of these on towing, because I think we're probably getting pretty good at towing by now because we've screwed it up in so many different ways that we're eliminating things because, we try to learn, but, everybody does these things isn't really as true as I think we'd like to think it is.
Well, I mean, honestly, the best way to learn is to make mistakes. Unfortunately, towing is not a place where you really want to make those learn by
No,
making those mistakes, but unfortunately, it does happen.
they can get
Um,
pricey.
yeah, the ultimate goal is that you are safe. Everybody in your vehicle is safe. Everybody else on the road around you is safe. So make sure the trailer is safe. Don't pull a mental. And I love you, mental, but I hear some of your trailer stories.
Yeah. Well, he sold the one that's made of depleted uranium, so that's one less tow story.
That's right. Yeah. So, it just, the biggest thing is make sure everything is there. Make sure everything is tight. Make sure your tire pressures are good. Make sure it's hooked up to the vehicle correctly before you even consider loading anything onto it or in it. That's just a habit that I personally have gotten into. I know that other people check over at certain different times after the thing's loaded, after it's all hooked up. I check it multiple times throughout the whole process. It's
even
just a good
even
habit to
while
get into.
you're towing, like when you
Even
get
while I'm
gas.
towing. Yep. Get gas, check over the vehicle, check over, make sure all the chains are hooked up, make sure your emergency brake cable is hooked in, just make sure everything is good. Make sure your tires are good. Make sure everything looks good.
Tow straps.
Make sure you open the door, check the tow straps if you're towing with an enclosed trailer.
If your tire is steaming or smoking.
Yeah, you got some brake problems probably.
Yeah, little bit. So,
Yep.
so let's start with the. I'm going to use the word simple. It's not simple, but let's start
Yes.
with the simpler side of the tow.
Mm-hmm.
The vehicle that is doing the towing. Let's call it the locomotive in this process.
Yeah.
I can tow with my half-inch coupler on my sedan, right? Not a problem.
That's not a problem at all.
Not a
No.
problem at all.
No, as you can tow with anything as long as you're towing the correct the weight behind you. So your vehicle that you're towing with, we're primarily a racing podcast. We talk about racing and things like that. So most everybody that we're going to be talking about should have a half-ton truck or SUV or larger for
Mhm.
towing what we're doing. Now,
so when I see, like, I watched the football game last weekend, and it says that this is a towing capacity of 8,000 pounds or 12,000 pounds or whatever, pick a number, any number. What does that mean? Like, really mean?
so you see that a vehicle says that it's capable of towing 10,000 pounds.
Okay.
That's your towing weight, right? So your vehicle, let's say your bed of your truck, you have 800 pounds in your bed of your truck.
Mhm.
Now you've just taken that 800 out of that 10,000 pound towing capacity because you have added weight to the vehicle. You've got 400 pounds worth of people in the vehicle.
That
Now you've
counts
taken
too.
another 400 pounds out of the weight, right? So now you've got 1,200 pounds that you've just taken off. So to safely tow with your vehicle, to be able to accelerate up to speed, to be able to stop it, which is the most important part, is that you effectively can tow about 8,800 pounds behind you. Now, the weight of your trailer counts towards that towing weight. So if your trailer weighs 3,500 pounds, now you have what? That's 5,300 pounds that you can put
Roughly.
onto
Yeah.
your trailer roughly,
Empty.
right? Empty, right? So your trailer weighs empty 3,500 pounds. So now you've got 5,300 pounds. Your car weighs, let's call it 3,000 pounds. Now you've got 2,300 pounds worth of tires, tools, and gear that you can now add onto that trailer to still be safe.
So when
I
you
will,
think 10,000 pounds is a crazy amount, it's really not.
it's really not. Plus, you don't always want to be at that 10,000 pound limit. You want to give yourself a little bit of room, a little bit of time. So if you find that you have, you want to bring all kinds of stuff, you want to bring you want a 28-foot trailer, you want to load the thing, you want all this extra stuff.
I'm right here, man. What are you trying to say?
It's it's taking away, or you're pushing the limits of the vehicle, right? So if you've got a half-ton truck that can safely tow 10,000 pounds, and you're always at that 10,000 pound weight limit, it might be a good idea to go to a 3/4 ton truck, right?
So are you implying that when we had a F-150 and we went through and a transmission in 38,000 miles, are you subtly implying that we may have not been helping it?
You definitely were not helping it. No.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
No. So there's a lot of different vehicle towing options. We have a team that's really good friends of ours. They enjoy towing with an SUV, which is, yeah. So they use the SUV sometimes to sleep in, all kinds of different things. So it depends on what is going to suit your needs. So getting into all of this, you need to figure out what your needs are. My half-ton truck works great for my needs right now. If I need to get a bigger trailer or tow something different or want to tow 2 cars, then I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to get a 3/4 ton or a 1-ton truck.
Right.
Safely to start, you may as well get a 3/4 ton truck, which is, a 2,500 Chevrolet like you have.
F-250.
F-250, a Ram 2,500, whatever floats your boat in terms of the brand. It's 3/4 ton truck is really the way to go. With a 3/4 ton truck, you can also tow. You can either bumper tow or you can tow via fifth wheel.
So before we get there, one thing that was recommended to us when we started, because remember back when we started, no tools, no car, no trailer, no truck, nothing.
Right.
So we rented. We'll get into the trailer, but we rented an open trailer from U-Haul.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. But then it was recommended to us to try renting the tow vehicle because we didn't have one.
Right.
So we went to Enterprise Business. I think it's business or commercial, whatever. And they would rent half-ton trucks and 3/4 ton trucks. And through that, we were able to determine which truck we liked and what size truck we liked. And it turned out that with a enclosed trailer, the 3/4 ton felt more secure to us when a truck, like a tractor trailer, 18-wheeler, comes whipping by, or we're going by it, because there's especially going down a hill. It just felt like we weren't at the literal, whatever the wind wanted to do was what we were going to do, and it was more or less, we were along for the ride. The 3/4 ton truck gave us a little more security in that, and made it feel a little more stable. So that's why we went there.
Mm-hmm. And that's always the recommendation, especially if you're going to tow an enclosed trailer as a 3/4 ton truck.
Mm-hmm.
It just, they weigh a lot more. You have a lot more behind you in that underneath you in that 3/4 ton truck.
Yeah.
Now, 3/4 ton truck, you can get then you can go up to the bigger toys. So you can go up to the 1-tons, the dualies, what is that thing? The Ford F550 or 650 or whatever that big thing is.
Bigger numbers get bigger.
Yeah. And you can get into, the Freightliner options, like what, some of the pro race teams have.
Yep.
Hey, Bill, we might be there someday.
Well, we might have the truck. I'm not sure we'll be a pro racer.
But there are a lot of different options. And I think that if you're just getting into this, finding a place that rents trailers and vehicles to tow with is a great idea. If you know that you're never going to tow more than 7,500 pounds in an open trailer, go get a half-ton truck, especially the newer half-ton trucks. They're all fantastic, right? But if you're not sure, and you don't know what your future is going to bring, 3/4 ton every day, all day.
Yeah. Okay, so half ton, 3/4 ton. Then there's the dualies or the hippie trucks, as everybody
Mm-hmm.
used to
Yep.
talk about.
Yep.
The SUVs, like not all SUVs are built the same. There's the SUVs that are body on frame, and then there's the other like more car-like SUVs,
Right. Right.
and they have different tow capacities.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have, a lot of the GMs and General Motors, Chevrolet, whatever, they have SUVs that are built on truck frames. So those have a towing capacity that's very similar to your half-ton truck or your, so on and so forth. Now, some of the SUVs, like just because I know these brands, let's talk about Porsche and Audi. They have some SUVs that have towing capacities up to 7,500 pounds,
Mhm.
which is perfect if you have, you have a light race car, you have a light aluminum open trailer.
Yep.
That vehicle tows those things, no problem. So there are plenty of options, right? So if you need an SUV for your family and you have a Miata with a lightweight aluminum trailer, you can just go get an SUV, right? So
Mhm. Good.
there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, but if you do plan on going down the rental route and you do go with the U-Haul open trailer, while it may not technically be made of depleted uranium, it weighs about the same as if it was.
Correct. This is
So
correct.
it is not a very light aluminum open deck trailer. It probably
It's a
weighs as much as an aluminum enclosed trailer.
or more.
Yeah.
My 10,000 GVW open trailer weighs, I think it weighs 3,200 pounds.
Mhm.
So it's heavy. They're heavy,
And the wind
and
resistance and blah blah blah.
right, right,
Yeah.
and trailers, even though they don't look like they're much, that weighs more than most. My trailer weighs more than most BMWs, most
Mhm.
BMW 3 Series, the whole car. So
Mhm.
they're not light.
So if you're torn between like tow vehicle A and tow vehicle B, choose the one that you can afford that has the bigger capacity. You won't be upset by that.
Correct, 100%.
Mhm.
Yep. That's why I always say, if you're torn, 3/4 truck or 3/4 ton truck is the way to go. 2,500 series truck.
Kind of baseline it. Yeah. And, some of the trucks, since we rented them all, we rented the Ford, we rented the Dodge, and we rented the GM of various brands because everybody has their own little brand.
Mhm.
Um, we knew which one we liked best, and we ended up not buying it because we had a friend who owned a car dealership that was a different car dealer. But, we knew which one we liked because we're not truck people, we're car people. So we liked the one that drove more like a car, and that was not the one we ended up with. But that's okay. It's a
Right.
tool.
And you've learned a lot.
It's a tool, much like I am most of the time.
I mean,
All
they're
right.
all tools. They're all tools to get a job done.
Yeah. We're not doing a dodgy van where we tow our car and end up racing our truck. It's not going to happen. So, okay.
No.
So let's go to the trailers themselves. We've talked a little bit about the renting and borrowing. Is this where you can get I know I go to Home Depot and I see all these trailers that are, 15 feet long with wood slats on them. I can just go get one of those and throw my car on there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine until it's not.
One wheel on each
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. No, you're good. No, you need to get a car specific towing trailer. And I say that because car trailers typically have a lower deck height, which
Mhm.
makes it easier to get the car on and off. So go to an actual, if you're buying new, or even used, some of the trailer shops and dealerships actually they have used stuff once in a while.
Yep.
But go to a reputable trailer dealer and tell them what your needs are. Most of the time, most of the places that I've ever been, they're not looking to gaff you. Most of the time, tell them what your needs are, and they'll tell you what your options are for those needs. On the used route, if you're going to go with a used trailer, you definitely want to check the thing over, make sure everything is good. Your wheel bearings, everything. I have recently seen a trailer that all four of the electric brake lines, the wires for the electric brakes, all
Mhm.
four of them were broken, or cut
That's helpful.
by, yeah. Oh, yeah. So you have no trailer brakes.
They're extra. They just slow you down, man.
Yeah, they just slow you down. So if you're going to buy something used, make sure you check it out. If you don't know anything about trailers, find a friend of yours. I'm sure you have one that can come with you and check out the trailer to make sure that it's okay.
One thing to know, though, is a used trailer doesn't cost a lot less than a new one.
They typically do not. So if you can afford it and a new trailer is, $800 to $1,400 more than the used trailer you're looking at, 1,000% go with the new trailer.
Yeah. And the only exception would be if somebody like a friend of yours is into it and they're upgrading. Those are the ones to get.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
But your money is usually pretty safe, much safer than in the stock market. If you buy a trailer, you can usually sell the trailer for similar, if not more, than what you bought it for
a reasonable price. Yep.
Indeed.
Hey, we have a visitor.
We do. We've got a new host coming in.
We do.
Miss Audra.
Hello.
So we're just talking about trailers. We just started talking about, different vehicles to tow them with, the option of buying new versus used, kind of the basic stuff.
Right.
Oh, good. That's all I do is basics.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
one thing I found recently that came out is there's a new company called Tolos. I think it's TOWLOS, if I remember right. And what they do is, like, people like us who have trailers, we can list our trailer kind of like a house for rent, and they can rent the trailer from the trailer owner. And because we don't use a trailer 365 every year, we might use a trailer 4 or 5, 8 times is a lot in a year. And you could lend out your trailer and rent it to somebody, and they can borrow it, and it kind of helps everybody.
Yep.
So that's an option.
I mean, renting trailers works great. If you're only going to race 4 times a year, trailers are expensive. A decent enclosed trailer, you're looking at, $10,000.
Yeah, pretty close, if not.
Right. If you're going to race 4 times a year and it's $150 each time you race to rent a trailer from U-Haul, and that makes sense, and you don't have the place to keep a trailer, 100% go that way. I mean, it's not always what it's cracked up to be. It's upkeep.
For me, I didn't have a place to keep my car, so the trailer keeps my car.
Is the home. Yes.
The portable garage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. And that works great too. Now you've done 2 things with that, and now you're good. And it's always loaded, it's always ready to go.
Well, it's always loaded.
Whether it's ready to go or not, that's TBD.
It's a BMW. It's always ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about the fancy ones, Jeremy? What about the fancy ones with, like, the double decker things? I want one of them. Someday.
That's getting into the big stuff. That's getting into the pro teams, the big vehicles. A lot of those double deckers have sleeping quarters in them. Most of them are 5th wheel or Freightliner stuff, that kind of thing. So that's getting into the next level. That I would not suggest that anyone start out there, because those trailers are long, really long. They're heavy, and if you don't have much experience towing, it's just too much.
I did cut you off earlier about the 5th wheel, so we never actually did that. Well, what's a 5th wheel? Because I think the trailers I've seen, they usually have even number wheels, so 5th wheel seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, so what that is that's an extra wheel on one side where you can put more weight.
Oh, cool. That's nice, because the driver weighs more, so I need that on the left hand side.
So no, I'm just kidding. So a 5th wheel, they call a 5th wheel trailer, or they call it a gooseneck, right? So 5th wheel or gooseneck depends on where you are in the country. So that's a trailer that has the ball is in the bed of the truck, directly above the axle, in the center of the bed. It all gets mounted in there with an amazing, welded frame, all that kind of stuff goes in there. Typically you have a trap door so you can flip the thing over, or you have a cover, to cover the balls so that you can use the bed regularly. Most of the time, a fifth wheel or gooseneck trailer is going to be in a dually, which is, a dually truck is 4 wheels in the back.
Right.
I'm sure you've all seen them, but some people haven't. So that's your fifth wheel. Typically, fifth wheels, you can get a larger trailer. You can get more towing capacity. It's more towing capacity. That's why they're usually on a larger truck.
I hear they're easier to drive, like more maneuverable.
They're pretty easy, yeah. I mean, it's the same. It's you're towing a trailer. It's
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to maneuver it when you're backing up, but once you get familiar with it, it's not that bad.
Yeah. So if you were to get an open trailer we're talking for racing, we're not talking you're starting a lawn service or anything like that.
Right.
Perfect situation and then minimum. Where are you thinking? Like perfect to me would be like a 18 or 20 foot aluminum tilt trailer. Perfect.
Right. I mean, and again, this goes back to what your needs are. When I got my open trailer, I do construction also. So I needed a trailer that I could haul a lot of materials with as well. So I needed something that I could do 2 things with. 20-foot deck worked with a 2-foot dovetail, worked perfect for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can get my BMW on there. I can get my large toolbox on the front of it. I can get 8 to 12 tires on the trailer. I can get everything that I need on that trailer. Plus, I can go to the lumber yard and I can get, 18, 20-foot planks and have no problem.
Or roll cage tubing.
Roll cage tubing. Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Most, if you're going to just tow your car and maybe an extra set of tires, most people are in the 16-foot range, 16 to 18-foot range. But again, this all depends on what your specific needs are and what you're planning on doing in the future.
So don't just measure the wheelbase of your car and say, it's 12 feet, 6 inches. I need it.
Now I'm going to get a 14-foot trailer. No, don't do that.
No.
If you have a Miata and you're going to drive it, you're going to tow your Miata with 4 tires. Yeah, a 14-foot trailer is probably going to do you just fine.
Not recommended.
Not recommended. But if that's all the space you have and what you have, and if it fits your needs, then sure. Always get in with my history and what I know, which is very little, and the things that I've done in the past, I have come to the realization that if you think you need an 18-foot trailer, get a 20-foot trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Always go 2 foot larger than what you think. It just makes everything easier.
Yeah, but doesn't it, reduce the bloat? So, if you only have the 18-foot trailer, you can only fit 18 feet of stuff.
Hold my beer. I know I can fit more.
Audra, we're talking about race car people. Hold my beer. I'm going to fit 40 pounds worth of stuff in that 20-pound box.
Easy. What if I need that part?
Right. So, I mean, it just makes it easier, for me. And that's my personal experience.
You don't want either the front or the back of your car hanging off the trailer either.
Right. Right.
So it's okay.
What about dealing with the weight limitations for the vehicle that you use in tow with? Are you covering that separately?
Well, no, that's something we touched upon that a little bit earlier. The weight limit of the vehicle is going to make a big difference in what you're looking at for the trailer. Like if we talked about earlier, if you had an SUV that towed 7,500 pounds and you need that SUV because you have family, dogs, that kind of stuff, a lightweight aluminum trailer and your race car is the way to go. You don't want to buy, like my 20-foot trailer. Could an SUV tow it that is capable of towing 7,500 pounds? Absolutely. Once you put the car on, now you're at the limit of the SUV, so you have no room for any gear in the vehicle, any extra people. You have no room for any extra stuff on the trailer,
and you're straining your tow vehicle.
Right, and you're really working your tow vehicle to its max. So that makes a big difference. So you
So
really need to figure out what your needs are, what what you need for your tow vehicle, what you think you need for your trailer, what you're going to do with it. Are you going to use it to store your race car in? That kind of stuff is all things that you really need to look at before you buy a tow vehicle or a trailer.
and two things that I don't think we did a good job when we were starting out, because we started off with a F-150, then we went to an F-250, and then we quickly went to a 2500 for a reason we can get into. That's quite a story.
You don't want me to start that one.
No.
Captain's log supplemental.
So, Bill, guess what?
What?
We did the Sentinel. We did the
did?
Sentinel.
We did.
We
How did
we
you
were
like it?
You know what? We were talking about the Sentinel.
We have.
It was great. We understood watching how the Sentinel works, but we finally got it into our car, and I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I was able to see every one of my mistakes.
We have hours of them.
We have hours of my mistakes,
Right.
but we have hours of good stuff too, which is awesome. It actually showed us the speed. Did it show us where we were on track?
We were streaming it
We were streaming it
we
live.
were boring billions of people across the world.
But it was pretty incredible. Plus, on it, you're able to put your insignia, your logos
Yep.
on your app also, and the clarity was amazing. It was really easy to put in,
It was
easier
easy.
than I thought it was.
I know you kept making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's really not that hard.
Actually,
Until we focused on it. It wasn't too bad. And then we got some help.
No.
It was pretty easy.
yeah, it was. It was pretty good.
You know what? I like the stream because some of the tracks we go to don't have great cell phone coverage, but it's got a USB stick backup. So I just uploaded the high quality video without the cellular interruption. So if you watched us earlier and said, wow, they got from there to there really quickly, you can watch the real video and see that no, we didn't. It's just a cell phone went out. But
Yeah. So the learning curve for me, obviously, I'm slightly techno Amish.
slightly.
Slightly when it comes to the wiring and stuff like that, but we get it in and I love it. We were able to sit there right at the track and watch what we were doing in the car, and that was amazing.
Which was good because if you have a problem with your radio, you can tell, if something is going on that you need to know about. Like a couple times we've had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. And I know it's hard to imagine one of our cars being broken, but whatever. But you can watch the video, and even with the cell phone coverage we had at that particular event, it was like a 30-second delay. So it wasn't bad. And you can compare multiple drivers because you have each of the stints are broken up. So we got to work on not only our driving, but if we wanted to, we could work on our pit stops and see exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk about as a team. And it was pretty good. Like I said, it takes me, once we got the wiring hooked up for the power, I probably could go from an empty shell to a full up setup running Sentinel. I could probably do that in like 20 minutes. So you could literally install it in a car before a race. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we got to see the driver and the front windshield. And if we want to, we can have three. We can see backwards. Or one of the guys we were going to work with at the upcoming event, he said, could you put a camera on the driver's eyes so we could see what they're looking at? I said, why, yes, I can. Haven't done it yet, but I'll figure it out. I've got time.
Well, I love it.
All right. Very well. That sounds like I can buy another one then. Woo! The other thing was, it turned out that we really liked racing, and we were towing to Road Atlanta, NCM. We're talking.
Yeah, you were long trips, day trips, full day of towing plus.
Over mountain ranges. Well, East Coast mountain ranges, not West Coast mountain ranges, but still.
Yeah.
My logic in my head was, hey, I don't know how much my trailer weighs. How much can it weigh? Whatever. My race car, it's going to be light. It'll be fine. F-150, there's no way I'd ever load that thing up. Plus, in my head, I'm sitting there saying, well, when they rate these things for 8,000 pounds towing capacity, obviously they're underestimating it. And usually there's a safety factor of like 2x. So I've got tons of room.
Wrong.
No, not so much. Not so much. As my Ford dealer was very happy with me while I was still under warranty.
Well, I mean, the big thing is, it goes back to what we said earlier. It's about being safe, right?
Mhm.
Just because your 1500 truck, series or F-150, whatever it is, has the power to pull something, it doesn't mean that it's safe, and it doesn't mean you can stop. It's not really about the pulling, it's about the stopping. And that's where these vehicles get most of their ratings from. You don't have the weight to stop your vehicle and 8,000 pounds worth of trailer and car behind you. It just doesn't happen, right? Physics takes over, just like it does on a racetrack going around a corner. So it's about being safe.
Plus it strains like the transmission and the cooling of the transmission.
Yes, it does. Everything gets very hot.
Yeah. Well, I was seeing temperatures of 250 or so continuous in my
that's no bueno.
in my transmission.
That's no bueno at all.
I proved that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a skill. Yeah. Okay, so if you were to say kind of minimum for race car people for an enclosed trailer, weight, length, blah, 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 blah.
Again, it depends on what your car is, but minimum 20
Normal's
foot
a-
enclosed,
Yeah,
20 foot
normal's
enclosed
20,
trailer,
right?
7,500 GVW.
Yeah.
That has worked perfect for our team. That was what we had for a very long time. We were towing a Volkswagen that weighed 2,400 pounds with everything in it, and anybody could hook up to it, whether they had an SUV or a 1,500 truck or larger, and have no problems with it. We could get everything we needed in the trailer. So that minimum, if you're going to get an enclosed trailer, 20 foot, 7,500 pound GVW.
Yep. And you can tell the trailer weight by the number of lug nuts on the wheels, apparently. This is things I learned.
You can?
Like a 5 lug is usually like the 75, 8,000 pound, and then the 6 lug wheel is the 10,000 pound.
I think that might be brand specific, because my 10,000 GVW trailer is 5 lug.
This is why I asked the questions. I represent the audience.
So every trailer on the tongue, which is that front section that comes out of the trailer, that holds the ball, the ball receiver on it, has stickers on it, and those stickers tell you what your tire pressures should be. It tells you what your VIN number and all that kind of stuff, and it also tells you the weight limit of the trailer. It goes as far as breaking down the weight of the trailer and the weight of the load that you can put inside the trailer. So those tags, when you get a trailer that's used and it's all rusty, you want to tape those tags off so that you don't spray paint over them before you realize what your trailer can and cannot do.
It sounds like I have to go to the hangar tomorrow and find out what my trailer can and cannot do, because I thought I was good.
Some trailer companies actually put it on the front. Like if you have an enclosed trailer, it could be up on the front section of the exterior of the wall. It's typically on the driver's side of the trailer, whether it's on the tongue or the trailer itself. Most of the time it's on the tongue.
Okay.
But yeah, those stickers are helpful information.
Who knew? Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to talk about the tow vehicle, or the tow pig, as it's affectionately known. Diesel versus gas. Everybody seems to have it's got to be or whatever. So we might as well start an internet war. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to start an internet war again. This is all preference and what you need. Now, we do a lot of Lemons racing, so it's kind of easy to go with scenarios here, and I think most of our listeners are Lemons racers. For my situation, my trailers that I tow, whether they're enclosed or open, my half-ton truck, which is, I have a Toyota Tundra, and that works perfect for me. It's a gas 5.7 V8. It has a tow button. The thing, it's designed to tow, so that works perfect for me. Now, again, everybody's needs are different. If I were to go to if I wanted to get a big trailer, like a fifth wheel, now for me personally, like I would go with a setup like what Amanda has from Momrath Racing. She has a fifth wheel that has sleeping quarters in the front. It's got your 20-foot open trailer in the back of it, and she tows it with a diesel truck. Diesel engines are typically stronger. They have more torque. They're more designed and geared for that kind of thing. But the weight limits of the things that I tow, gas engine is totally fine. A diesel engine for me would be overkill. Plus, at the time, I couldn't afford to buy a diesel truck.
So diesel theories that I've heard, and might as well start really getting the flames going here. The torque of a diesel and the diesel being heavier makes it a better tow engine. It'll last longer. It used to be that it was cheaper to do because you got better miles per gallon, but diesel costs so much more than gas now. Maybe
Right.
not the case, whatever. Where are you on that?
So if I were to, all right, so for racing for me, the 6 to 12 times a year that I tow, gas engine works fine for me. If I were to start towing all across the country, if all we did was race every other weekend and we towed all across the country,
that would be so good.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
It would be amazing.
I would 100% have a diesel. That's, I'm going to overwork a gas engine doing that, towing every single week all over the country. Doesn't matter what your weight is. If you're towing, 8,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, you're going to overwork a gas engine if you're doing it nonstop. That's my personal opinion. Again, let's start a podcast war with everybody out there. But I mean, again, that's my personal experience. That's my personal opinion is if I were to do that, it would 100% be a diesel vehicle.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned something that I have in my truck and I don't know what it does, but it looks really cool. And I have played with it many times and I have no idea what it does or how it should be done. But that doesn't mean I didn't touch it and play with it. There's this brake slider thingy.
Ah, yes.
I have no idea what it does. I have occasionally decided, hey, I need more brakes, or hey, I need less brakes. Usually when I was going down the mountain, I decided I wanted more brakes because that seemed like a good thing to do. Perhaps that's not the proper way of dialing in my brake slider thing.
No, that's not the proper way of dialing in your brake slider thing.
I was so close, though.
You were very close.
So close.
Yeah. So what that is that adjusts the amount of pressure the electric brakes put on the shoes to give you braking power on your trailer when you press on your brake pedal.
Only if you plug that little thing in, though.
You have to have the trailer plugged in.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get to that in a little while.
Yes.
But anyway, so that is, you want to make sure that when you press the brake, you can feel the trailer braking by itself. You don't want your truck doing all the braking, and you don't want the trailer trying to do all the braking. You want to feel the trailer kind of tug on your truck just a little tiny bit, or your SUV, and that's when you know you have it adjusted correctly. Now, in my truck, if I am fully loaded, I am right around, mine goes from 0 to 10. I'm right around a 7 to a 7.5, depending on where I am and what I'm doing.
How would I know? Because it doesn't tell me.
Yours doesn't tell you?
No, it says what number I'm at.
Oh.
But that doesn't tell me I should be at a 6.642.
Well, you have to tow very slowly in a parking lot and adjust it until the trailer pulls on your truck just a little tiny bit before you come to a stop.
Oh, so yeah, we never did that. I've been as low as 1 and as high as like 8.
Yeah.
With the same load. And you know how I load.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
perhaps I could do better.
Perhaps you could do better.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. It's always a good idea to test that.
All right. Well, that's okay. Whatever. So it's not like an air conditioner, huh? Like, when I'm feeling warm, I turn it up and okay. All right. Audra, do you see what he's doing?
No, it's not like an air conditioner.
Do you see what he's doing to me, Audra? He's picking on me. He's picking on me.
Bill, I think you opened the door on that one yourself.
Wow. Maybe this Bill Vila thing is more applicable than I thought. But anyway. All right. So story time. story time, Mr. Jeremy. Before we get to hitches and couplers, I don't remember if Miss Vicky told you, but I think you were on the podcast. We were at a race, and somebody took our ball when we were parked at the local Walmart Supercenter off the back of the truck. So when we got back to the racetrack, we could not take our trailer with us. So I went back to, I don't learn my lesson. I went back to Walmart because it was the only store near the racetrack, and I bought myself a ball. And then Miss Vicky was driving home, and the trailer came off because Mr. Bill did not know that the balls came in different sizes because I had only had one size.
And how did that work out?
She wasn't happy with me. I mean,
Mhm.
the bathtub was quite comfortable that evening.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet it was. So let's talk about the trailer balls. All right. So if you're towing a race car trailer, 99% of them that we are going to tow in our racing series, unless we have a ton of money and we have a tractor trailer truck or a fifth wheel, even a fifth wheel, though, they are going to be a 2 5/16 inch ball.
That's a dumb size.
Well, yeah, you're going to talk to the guy that designed that years and years ago. So anyway, there are typically three sized ball sizes, right? So you've got your 1 7/8, which is your small trailers, your home trailers, little trailers up to typically around 2,000 pounds. And then you have your 2-inch ball, which is for a little bit larger trailers in between your home trailer and your race car trailer. Those are a 2-inch ball, and they're typically tow up to about 3,500 pounds. So 99.9% of us that are in this racing world are never going to use those two sizes for our race car trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to your 2 5/16 inch ball. Now, that is typically a 2 5/16 ball is typically any trailer up to about 30,000 pounds. So everything that we're going to tow for tractor trailer or for racing and things like that we are all doing, including your gooseneck fifth wheel, is going to be a 2 5/16 inch ball.
Is there a bigger ball?
I don't know. I don't think there is, but
okay.
I know there's other things like, tractor trailer trucks are different. There are, I don't know.
If you go to like Tractor Supply, that's the big ball.
That's the big ball.
Okay.
That's the big ball. Yep.
So when you can't remember the number like me, you don't just guess, well, I'm not carrying that much, so I'll just take the middle one.
Right. No, don't ever guess. To make it even simpler for you, if you have lost a ball or you going to buy one because you just bought your nice, beautiful new trailer, you can look at your trailer. Look at the tongue of the trailer. At the very front where the latch is, it locks that trailer onto the ball where the ball receiver is. On top of that, it will tell you what size ball you need. Most trailers. So if you look on the front of your trailer, you will see where it will say 2 5/16 inch ball. That's what you go and buy.
I'm just saying, I don't know about where you shop, but my places that I shop, they won't let me bring my trailer in. So,
Well, that's why you can take a picture of it for those of you that have a very short memory when you walk from the parking lot into the store. Yeah.
All right. All right. So when I go get my ball, because they took the hitch and the ball. And the hitch, they tend to have like the flat one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the ones that are curved.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like the wing on the back of my car. I want the curved one because the gooseneck is supposed to give me more downforce. So I want to have the most curve I can so that my trailer stays with the best downforce. That's how I pick them.
No, that's not how that works.
Oh.
So what that's called a drop. So when you're getting your trailer all set up, you can back your vehicle up to your trailer and adjust your trailer to the height that it looks about level. Then you want to measure from where your hitch comes out of the back of your truck down to where your ball is going to sit inside the trailer. That's going to be your drop. So most, let's call it 1,500 series vehicles, half tons, you typically aren't going to need a drop for 7,500 to an 8,000 pound trailer. If you do, it's going to be very small, like maybe a 2-inch, inch and a half drop. Some of your larger trucks or your lifted trucks, you need a much larger drop.
So my Raptor that I don't have, but I really want.
Yeah, but the problem with that is the suspension is so soft in that thing, and it can only tow like 3,000 pounds anyway. But the suspension is so soft in that once you hook a trailer to it, it's going to drop it right straight down, so you don't even need a drop.
Mm-hmm.
So what about getting an adjustable one? Is there downsides to that?
There are no downsides to it. That's what I have.
Only if it comes loose.
So I'm gonna drop in my years of towing, the best hitch that I have ever had or used or seen is BW hitches, Bravo Whiskey hitches. I have an adjustable drop hitch. It has 2 pins in it, goes straight up and down, so I can adjust, from I think 0 to 7 inches a drop, I think. And also the beautiful thing about the one that I have is I can leave it in my vehicle. I can leave it in the truck, and I can hide the ball up behind it so nobody takes it in the shin or the knee when they walk behind the truck.
That's such a wake up call. Such a big wake up call when you do that. Nothing makes you happier.
No, nothing. No, that'll wake you up a lot faster than jumping in the ocean in January in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when I go to like Home Depot and Tractor Supply and, the Mart of walls, in case I need to shop for walls, they have load ratings for these things as well.
Correct.
I always, not want the big one or I don't play.
It's never a bad idea. Always, even if you have a 7,500 pound trailer, I still get the 10,000 pound rated hitch, just because.
More is better.
More is better.
Okay.
It's less work. It's like having a 400 horsepower car when you only need 280 horsepower, right? It's less stress on the engine. You don't have to work the engine so hard to do the same thing.
Well, and then when you upgrade, it's one less thing to buy.
Yep.
Bigger is better. Okay.
Yep.
Always an upgrade.
Always.
It is. Always.
Cool.
Yep. 100%. But yeah, my BW hitch is a 10,000 pound rated hitch. It's, it's hideable, it's fully adjustable, and I have 2 different size balls on it because I have trailers that are different size balls. So, you can get them with multiple, you can get them with a single ball, but they're very customizable. And what you really want is you want the correct drop. And if you can't really figure what that is going to be, if you can't figure that out, an adjustable one is always the way to go. That way there you can hook your trailer up and do all that kind of stuff, load it and everything, and see what your tow vehicle is going to, how much it's going to drop. The idea is that you want your trailer while you're towing, you want it as level as you can have it.
So if you're not quite level, would you rather have a V or a peak? Like a little down or a little up?
Me personally, I'd rather have it a little up.
Up.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some videos on YouTube that show you, there's some people that have taken, smaller like toy vehicles and they've put them on a treadmill, and they've showed you what happens when you have too much weight on the tongue, too much, weight at the very, very back. So when it's down, that means you have too much weight on the tongue. When it's up, it means you have too much weight in the very back. So it in my opinion, it's a little bit better if it's going to be anywhere, half an inch or so. I like it personally. I like it up just a little bit.
How do you know how much weight's on your tongue? I mean, besides at dinner.
Yeah, you just have to kind of guess.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, I mean, unless you
I
have
get these things wrong.
Unless you have a scale that you can, put the trailer on and leave the trailer on the scale, put the front of the trailer on the scale and leave it there, and then load the trailer up and look at it, and it's going to tell you have 750 pounds or you have 900 pounds, whatever it is. Then you can shift your cargo in the trailer or on the trailer, forward or backwards, so that you have the ideal weight on the tongue. Now, I can't remember 100% what the ideal weight on your tongue is. Every trailer is, every vehicle and trailer combo is always going to be different. I think around 600 pounds tongue weight, I think, is pretty average, maybe.
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah. So it's not a lot. It's a lot less tongue weight than you think.
And the thing for me was it's not like there's a gauge there or anything.
Right. There's no gauge. So unless you have scales and you can, jack the trailer up with it on the scale, there's really it's kind of, that's why I kind of gauge it by the levelness of the trailer.
Okay, but I guess maybe it's a different question then. So if I've got a drop, right?
Mhm.
And let's say it's a 3-inch drop, or I'm not even sure they come in these increments, a 5-inch drop,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm automatically going to have a dip or a increase, an upward slope or a downward slope from the trailer.
Well, you shouldn't, and that's why they make various different drops, so that you can get the correct drop, so that when you have that trailer loaded, it's almost level. So those drop hitches are designed so that if you have a vehicle that is, you have a low deck trailer with a low tongue, and your truck is, sits way up here, and your trailer sits way down here. Once you load that, your truck's going to drop a little tiny bit.
Right.
And then that distance that you measure is going to give you the proper drop that you want on your hitch. Right. So if you just automatically go by 5-inch drop, it may not be correct for your trailer and your tow vehicle.
Okay. So let me
There's
explain.
a little bit of science behind it.
Let me explain how we were doing this wrong. So we were getting the place where we got our hitches. It was like 1.5 inches or so in between increments.
Mm-hmm.
So we would get one that was close, right?
Yeah.
And then we would put it together and connect it. And then we would load the trailer and then go outside and see whether we were slightly up or slightly down, and then move things either backwards or forwards to get close to level.
Mm-hmm. And that's great too, as long as it's close to level, as long as the trailer looks close to level to the ground.
Right. But if I had too much drop to start with, I would have no tongue weight, because I'd be trying to.
You would be trying to lift up the trailer, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
No.
So
no.
Perhaps there may be some adjustments that need to be made.
And that's why before you put any cargo in it, you want to measure it before you put cargo in the trailer or on the truck.
But the car goes in the trailer. Come on, cargo.
Well, I mean, you could have the car in the trailer, but you want to measure it with the truck back. Like I said in the in the beginning, you want to back the truck up to it so that it looks pretty level, and you should know what your truck is going to do once you could hook it on there, hook the trailer on if you have it loaded, and see that the truck drops 1.25 inches, right? Or let's call it an inch. Make
whatever,
it easy,
yeah.
right. So your truck drops 1 inch when you hook the trailer up. Right. So now disconnect the trailer from the truck. Make sure the trailer is level. Now back your truck up to it. Now you have 4 inches, right? But it's going to drop 1 inch once you hook the trailer on, which means you want a 3-inch drop.
Okay. Well, you just brought me to something else. So remember, I do this as a professional courtesy to my listeners, and I try to represent a potential listener who doesn't know anything about what we're talking about. And I'm doing a very good job on this episode. So I have heard that for a tow vehicle, you may want to have different springs in the back of my truck, or I may want to have airbags. I have no idea why.
Okay. They help with the stability of the vehicle.
Okay.
And your towing. So I personally like airbags. In my situation, when I load the enclosed trailer, we're around, 75 to 7,800 pounds would be my guess. I have airbags in my truck, and I hook the trailer up to it, and I put in about 40 to 45 pounds of air in the airbags, and it makes the ride quality much better. It makes the stability of the truck and the trailer as a combination much better. That's just my personal preference. Some people like to change the springs out to a heavier spring, but then when you're not towing, your vehicle rides like a brick.
It already does that. I hate trucks.
Right. The other thing that's an option out there in terms of, stability and comfort are all of those torsion and tensioning hitches that you buy. They have bars in them, the bars and all that stuff that connect to the trailer, they connect to the hitch. They help with all that kind of stuff. Me personally, my personal preference is airbags. I don't like switching out the springs because when I'm not towing, it drives like crap. And I feel like the airbags for me work better than all of those self-leveling or adjusting or, tensioned bars and things like that that go on the trailers.
Is that the same as like the anti-sway and the low
Yeah,
sway?
the load bars and the anti-sway. Yep. I use the airbag for that. I just put some air in the airbag and it takes care of all that.
And where is this? Okay, so I have no clue what you're talking about. Where does
So-
the airbag go?
So the airbags in like a pickup truck, they go between the axle and the frame of the vehicle.
Okay.
So
Do they replace the springs?
they do not. Nope. Your springs stay there. Your shocks stay there. Everything stays there. This is just an addition to it.
Huh.
So you add them in, you run your lines. You can have an electric controller inside the vehicle, or mine are just manual. So I have 2 lines that come out at the license plate, and I just hook a air compressor up to it. And, depending on what the weight is that I have in the trailer and the tongue and all that stuff, just like I said, 40 to 45 pounds. And, it lifts it up just a little tiny bit, makes it perfectly level, and I'm good to go.
So I'm not going to go hop in my truck like the lowrider guys.
You are not. Nope.
Damn it.
Nope. You are not going to do that. Well, I mean, you could if you got the electrical controller inside the vehicle, but it would look kind of silly just lifting and lowering the back of the vehicle.
That's how I roll, man.
Yep. Yeah. But for, like I said, and it's going to come down to what your needs are, what you find works best for you and your needs and your team's needs and all that kind of stuff.
You know I'm needy, Jeremy.
I know. So am I.
Y'all are just saying. But anyway,
and you would be a very good person to know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different options out there. When you're going to get into this kind of stuff, go to the racetrack. Even if you think you want to get into racing, go to the racetrack. Talk to different people at the track. What works for their team? What works for them? What works for their car. Find a team that has a similar car that you're thinking about building or racing. And have conversations. Let our failures make it so that you don't fail as much.
so can we talk about connections to the tow vehicle? Like, how do you know you have the right thing? What do you need to have? And what do they give you?
So nobody gives you anything.
I know.
No, and it's safety. It's a safety thing, right? If they gave you a 2-inch hitch, 2-inch ball, and you go and you buy a trailer with a 2 5/16 ball, that's a safety thing. And you could go back and you could, most people in this wonderful country would go back and try to sue the person, that sold you the vehicle. Oh, well, you gave me the wrong thing. Well, no, we just included it, but you should have known that you should have looked at that. So most people aren't going to give you anything. The easiest thing is that once you figure out what you're going to use for towing, once you figure out what your trailer is, then you go. And I personally like to go to trailer dealers rather than go to Home Depot or Lowe's or things like that. I mean, you can get that stuff there, but when you go to a trailer dealer, they're knowledgeable people. So Audra, if you were to take that beautiful Durango that you have and go to a trailer dealer and say, hey, listen, I want to buy that trailer. What do I need to hook it up to the vehicle? They're going to tell you everything you need. Right. So,
So Jeremy, I bought my trailer off of Facebook Marketplace, literally from 2 guys that barely spoke English behind like an empty industrial park.
oh, that's awesome.
It's almost the same.
Right.
It's a little murdery, but it worked out. It's fine.
It's almost the
Yeah,
same.
so that's perfect. So, you need to make sure that your trailer, that your tow vehicle has a tow hitch on it. Right. Go ahead, Bill.
What I was going to say was we take our vehicle and our trailer to the tow trailer dealer
Mhm.
and just say, make whatever this is safe and adjust it and level it. And if we need whatever, make it good.
Yep. And they'll do that. And they'll do
They
that.
do.
And that's the easy button. That's the, and that's the easy button. And I recommend it if you're questioning any of it. I recommend doing exactly that. It goes back to you need your hitch on your vehicle. whether it's a hitch that is mounted underneath the vehicle to the frame, or typically trucks have the hitches already built into them, especially if they have a tow rating and a towing package. So you need your hitch, then you need your receiver and your ball, your drop receiver, whatever your receiver is going to be after you figure out what your trailer is. And then on the trailer end, you have your tongue.
Don't you have to put those sticks and couplings in there to keep everything from falling apart? Because I not that I've driven off and had my trailer stay where it was with my hitch. That never happened. Never happened.
When you have your hitch,
Mm-hmm.
you have to put your ball with your drop on it,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
I did that. No
You
problem.
have to slide that in your little box that's back there. Typically, it's about a 2-inch box.
Did that.
Depending on how strong what the hitch is rated for, it could be a larger box.
Mm-hmm.
And they make spacers to make those smaller for your 2-inch.
Collars and things. Yeah.
Yep. So you put that in there, and then you put your pin in there, your safety pin.
Oh, there's the part I missed.
And then on the other side of your safety pin, you got a nice little cotter pin that kind of clips over that to make sure that it stays there.
Mm. You want to go baller though? I went baller. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
So at the local, it's an auto parts store. They have those. What's the horizontal pin called? The trailer, the 1/2-inch pin, whatever.
Yeah, just the lock pin. Yep.
Okay. So on the other end, there's a lock, right? And you can lock it. But the cool thing is, if you buy the right one, you can lock it with the truck key.
Yeah, I got one of those. So
so you can do that, and that way you can't ever lose it, because you can't drive away without the truck key, and you can't lock it without it. It's fantastic.
This is correct. Yep. So that's the vehicle side, and then your trailer side, you have your tongue, right? That comes out with your ball receiver on the end of the tongue with a little latch on the top of it. That's your lock pin or your lock latch, right? That lock latch has to be open when you connect to the vehicle. Crank it down so it connects onto the vehicle nicely, and push that lock latch down. Now, if that lock latch is not going down, then it's not seated in there correctly. So you may need to jack it back up, move the vehicle forward or backwards so that it seats in there correctly. Once it's seated in correctly, then that lock latch will pop back down. Even though those latches have a lock on the back of them to hold them down, I personally don't ever trust that. I always worry that is going to pop open, and if I hit a big bump, the trailer is going to pop off the ball. So I always put a lock on that, or some sort of safety latch, cotter pin, whatever it is. I always put a lock on that. And then you have your 2 chains, your chain from your left side of the trailer and the right side of the trailer. You hook those onto your eyelets on the hitch itself. They're on the tow vehicle. There's a left eyelet and a right eyelet. Now, depending on the length of your chains, this is always something me personally, I don't think it makes a difference, but everyone says, a lot of people always in the past says that you want to crisscross them. Me personally, I don't think it makes a difference. The only time I ever crisscross them is when I have long chains, and I need to keep them off the ground. I don't know. They say it makes a difference, but I don't.
It makes a difference in what? So what would happen if you didn't have them crossed?
They say it's safer that you have them crossed, but
safer in what way?
Who knows? I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea.
It looks more like the cross, and the cross is good.
Yeah.
So what do talk about the purpose of the chains though?
So the chains are so if you're towing and the ball, let's say your trailer pops off your ball, those chains are to keep it attached to connected to your vehicle so that you don't separate both pieces. So your vehicle doesn't continue going and your trailer heads off to the left, right? It's to keep them connected so that they stay together. It's going to do a lot of damage if it comes apart typically, but it's to keep them together. So if you're in a parking lot or something and your ball pops off, or your trailer pops off your ball, you're going to know it very quickly because it's going to drop. The chains are going to hold it to your vehicle. It's going to start jerking around. If you're on the highway and something breaks and that happens, it's a lot less fun, but it's safer for everybody around you.
So how tight should the chains be?
They need to be loose so that you can maneuver the trailer when you're turning and backing up. You just don't want them dragging on the ground. If you hit a bump and they're dragging on the ground, that's not good. So that's when I will crisscross them so that they lift them up, lifts it up a little bit higher off the ground.
Or you can twist them.
Yep. Or you can twist them. I don't really recommend twisting them that much, only because if something were to happen and they are twisted and there's a lot of tension on them via the twist,
yeah,
they can potentially, I don't think it would ever happen, but they could break. Just because of the stress on them. But I mean, you could. Me personally, I don't recommend that. But if you have a short distance to go and you just need to keep them off the ground, then you could always do that. One thing I've done in the past is I've taken a short bungee cord to keep them off the ground, and I've attached the bungee cord over the tongue of the trailer and onto each chain left and right, and that kind of will hold them up a little bit.
That's better.
Yeah,
then you have
much
the
better
other
than
little
twisting.
thing, right? You have the other little thingy that you have to connect as well.
That is the electric emergency brake controller line, right?
Yeah,
The cable.
that thingy.
Yep.
The
So
thingy,
that's the next thing. Yep. You want to make sure that that's connected. You don't want to connect it to your chain, because if your chain pops off, that's going to pop off with your chain. That needs to be connected to the vehicle, your tow vehicle, by itself separately. It can go through the same eyelet, but you don't want it connected to the chain when the chain goes through the eyelet.
And then you have your electrical connections.
Then you have your electrical connections, and what we are using is typically a 7-pin. All of our trailers, I think anything over 3,500 pounds immediately goes to a 7-pin, or anything that has brakes is typically a 7.
It's like
pin.
It's like a 2-inch circle.
That gives you your yep, and your tow vehicle will have a receiver for that, and that gives you your trailer lights. That gives you your trailer brakes as well, the electric trailer brakes.
And if you have a hitch raiser and lowerer, fancy words there.
Fancy words for that. Yeah,
that's right. Does that too.
Yep, it does that too.
I'm not saying that we're like an hour plus into this and we haven't even gotten to the trailer yet, but there's a lot of stuff we can do wrong, and we've done many of them wrong.
Well, and that's why at the very beginning of this, I said that this towing is can be a very dangerous thing, and most people don't think about it. Oh, I'm just going to hook my trailer up and we're just going to go. Well, there's a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of things that you need to make sure are correct. There's a lot of things you need to make sure that they're safe. Not just, for you, but for everyone around you, for everyone that is, in your vehicle, for everyone that is on the road that you're passing, or that are passing you or driving near you, all of it.
So I think we're probably going to go crazy long if we get into the connections and lower and loading and everything else. So let's just go through real quickly types of trailers again, because we talked about open trailers and closed trailers.
Open trailers, closed trailers, and
right.
Then you have your gooseneck or
right.
fifth wheel, as we call them, depending on where you are in the country.
Mm-hmm. And then I've seen the aluminum ones. Sometimes there's a tilter.
Yep. Yep, a tilt trailer. Typically, your tilt trailers are your open trailers. Typically, will have a tilt option when you're buying an aluminum trailer. But it depends on the trailer and how fancy you want to get, how much money you want to spend.
Mm-hmm.
We have some friends of ours that race with us in Lemons. They have this amazing enclosed trailer that has a tilt option,
right?
And that drops the trailer right down, so you don't have to use ramps. It's makes it really easy.
Mm-hmm. And then I believe I've been told that this is only for front wheel drive cars, but there's the 2-wheel dolly.
Yeah. I personally have never used one. I don't like the idea of it. You see them all the time. People are you'll see a Mini Cooper being towed by a motorhome or something, right? And that's a 2-wheel dolly that you just drive the front tires up on. So the rear tires, they don't have drive axles to them, so they can spin freely as long as you don't have the emergency brake on. And then that just connects to your hitch, and it's got 2 wheels, and it just basically lifts the front of the car up enough that it can be on there and just drive down the road. Me personally, I've never had a situation where I've needed one of those or really necessarily wanted to use one.
Mm-hmm.
But people use them all the time. Again, it goes back to what is going to suit your needs, what your personal preferences are. And my personal preference is not to use one, but
Mhm.
again, you never know.
And then
I say that I may use one tomorrow.
yeah, maybe. And then occasionally you'll see like an RV, especially pulling a car just on a bar. It's just flat. It's four wheels on the ground. And
Yep. Yep. They have that as well. That is its own setup that they mount plates and attachment eyes on your vehicle that poke out through your front bumper typically. And then you just pin it to your vehicle and you just tow down the road. Again, not something I've ever done nor ever want to do.
no, and I believe that there's a restriction on what cars are capable of doing that, if I remember right. Like there's certain cars where either the transmission or the differential, I'm not sure about the differential, but I think the transmission can or cannot handle that. So only certain cars are capable of doing that.
Yeah, I would probably think that would be accurate. I mean, you would have to have the vehicle in neutral just so that all four tires can spin freely, so you don't have resistance against the transmission, which in turn will, if it's engaged, it could do any number of different things. But yeah, I don't know how that all works. I've never.
Yeah, I think there's something with and this is speculation, not 100% fact. I think there's something with limited slip diffs on some styles get very angry with doing that with the car off.
Yeah, they could. Yep, 100%.
So maybe, don't know. Anything else on trailers before we get to next time? Loading a trailer.
Hitches, couplers. Let's see. What have we?
Did we miss anything?
Anti-sway, load, spread.
Yeah, we didn't do too much on the anti-sway stuff
Brake
and the load
bias.
spreading. The load spreading, from what I understand, is kind of like bars usually that take some of the weight off of the trailer and transfer it into the frame of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then they kind of push the back of the truck up and the front of the truck down, kind of leveling things a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
And then sometimes they have an anti-sway function, which especially when you have like big trucks going by or going by a big truck, it keeps the trailer from wiggling back and forth. And I've noticed that with the enclosed trailer.
Yes.
It can happen.
It does happen most of the time, even if you have a 3/4 ton truck.
Mhm.
But
Especially
again,
tractor trailers doing 95. You're not.
Uh-huh.
It's great. It's great stuff.
Yep. Physics.
Yeah. Nothing like driving with a 20-foot box behind you to make aerodynamics become important in your life.
Right. Now, let's go back to if you are towing with an SUV. Okay.
So I've got my RAV4.
You got your RAV4 that will never tow a race car trailer.
Nope.
But you've got your
Suburban.
Well, I'm going to use Audra because she's on here and I know what she has. Audra's got a beautiful Durango, right? So let's say you buy a Durango and it doesn't have it's set up. It comes with the towing option of an extra oil cooler for the transmission because transmissions get warm when you tow, but it doesn't come with anything else to tow. So now you have to add a tow hitch, right? To tow your trailer, and you add your plug for your trailer plug so your lights and everything works. Now, when you do that, not everyone thinks about your brake bias, right? So when you push the brakes, you have all that stuff connected together and you push the brakes, your trailer brakes, work as you push your brake pedal on your vehicle. Now, what that brake bias, the little fun slider thing, as Bill calls it, that's your brake bias. So that will help you with how much brake pressure is applied to the pads when you push the brake. Now, again, you bought a vehicle that doesn't have any of that stuff. So you've put your hitch on, you've put all that stuff on, and you're towing down the road and you hit the brakes and the trailer locks up every time you hit the brakes. Well, now you don't have a brake bias in the vehicle. So they make kits to add a brake bias, electric brake bias in those vehicles. I highly recommend that if you are going to turn your vehicle that is not your SUV that doesn't have all those options and you want to just tow with it, I highly recommend you put a brake bias in that vehicle. They're very simple. They make them, a whole bunch of different people make them, but that will allow you to adjust how much brake pressure is applied when you push on your brake pedal.
With outfitting the vehicle, something we haven't talked about yet either is mirrors.
Mirrors.
Oh, that's such a pain in the butt.
There's a word for it.
Some trucks, the mirrors slide wider.
Yep. So a lot of your 3/4 ton and your 1 ton vehicles, your trucks you can get the option of tow mirrors, which are either manually or electrically adjusted, and they extend out to give you better visibility of your trailer and what's behind you. Now, 1500 series trucks, it's a lot more common now to be able to have that option, but it always hasn't been. And most SUVs that you're going to tow with don't have that option. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can buy an aftermarket mirror for your vehicle that is a tow mirror. You can also, I'm looking to see where they are. Oh, we don't have video. We need YouTube video, Bill. They also make these cool tow additions to your mirrors that kind of clip over your mirror, and they extend out further from your vehicle with an additional mirror on it on the outside, so that you have a mirror that you can see your trailer better with, and what's around your trailer, and who's coming up beside you, or what's next to you when you're trying to turn around, around a corner, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Can you do without the mirrors?
What's that?
Can you do without the mirrors? Like, really not recommended.
It's if you're towing with an SUV, no, you need something to be able to see. My truck, I tow without them typically, because I don't have my truck didn't have the option. I can buy an aftermarket tow mirror, but I've just gotten so used to towing, and I tow so much that I kind of have an idea. It's like when you're driving your race car on the racetrack, you know where your car is. But when you have an SUV that is much narrower than a full size pickup truck, I would not recommend towing without some sort of, extender for your mirrors, a tow mirror extender, whatever you want to call it.
You know what the last thing you want to do is to be driving down the highway, and all of a sudden you realize, hey, there's this flashing, blinky light behind you that you don't see, but you see the light. And then you just keep driving for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then eventually you realize that those lights aren't going away, and it's not like somebody's brake light or anything. And then you pull over, and that tends to make someone very unhappy with you. If that
yeah, all of a sudden you realize that those are blue lights that are flashing behind you. Yeah. And you just saw the light and you didn't realize it was blue. And but if you have tow mirrors or tow mirror extenders or whatever you want to call them, wherever you are in the country, I don't know what your term is for them. If you had those, you would be able to see that. Oh, yeah, that's somebody trying to flag me down.
Yeah, they tend to not think it's funny when you don't pull over for an extended period of time.
Well, just remember, they're just trying to flag you down to tell you that you're towing fantastically.
Yeah, you're doing amazing. Great. You're doing great.
Mm-hmm. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Way up. I have thought of one tow vehicle option that we have not gone into, Jeremy. Okay. And it is a tow vehicle option that I believe you are aware of, and you have seen loaded and unloaded several times, never failing to impress you. I believe it is called a school bus.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So in and you don't see it in every single racing series, but our racing series, we do get to see it.
We are special.
Yes. People have turned school buses into your tow vehicle and or camping headquarters. So they typically build it out. You've got they build this cool ramp system on the back, which, by the way, has to be incredibly long to drive a race car up into a 5-foot high school bus where it drives into the back. But
or it can just be super sketchy.
Or it can be super sketchy. I mean, we've seen it all. but yeah, I think that's a cool option if that's what your team wants to do, especially in the 24 Hours of Lemons series that we race. We see all kinds of amazing things, and that's one of the things we really love about that series. And we got to get Eric on here one day. But yeah, I mean, it's super cool. You know, you build out the front of it like that. That's your RV, and then your car goes in the back, and all your tools and all that stuff go right in the back, and you're good to rock and roll.
It's the first time you see it in action, you won't walk away until they're done.
Yeah, it's an all-in-one package that is absolutely brilliant and fun to watch.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. People get very creative, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about the series that we race in is you know, everybody gets very creative with everything, including you know, towing back and forth to the racetrack.
Yep.
But again, it's you really have to find out and ask the questions, what is going to suit you and or your team the best in terms of tow vehicle, trailer options, you know, all the towing options. If you're not going to get a trailer and you're going to get a dolly or you're something like that, or you're going to get a school bus, or you're going to rent, or what you're going to do, you need to figure out what is going to work best for the needs that you have and or your team has, and make those educated decisions. I know they're tough. The educated decisions are tough because we're you know, when we're learning all of this stuff. But again, that's why you ask questions. Go to the racetrack. You want to get into racing, you know, go to the racetrack, ask those questions, ask people, you know, again, find that person that's got a similar vehicle to what you are going to build, and how do you get it back and forth to the track? Ask the questions. You know, I remember in 8th grade, we had a science teacher that the only dumb question is the question that is unasked. So, I mean, people have proven this day and age that that's not true, but yeah, ask the questions, especially if you want to come to Lemons. We will all answer your questions.
One last thing that I know we didn't talk about it yet, but it's a safety aspect. Why are we talking about towing the car to the track when I could just drive it?
Well, didn't you mention earlier, typically your race car is not a roadworthy car?
I am not saying this is the first idea that comes to mind, but I have seen people drive fully caged cars.
I mean, if you have a race car that is still road legal, more the power to you to drive it to the track. I have the track rat that I have, the BMW E46 that I have. It is roadworthy. It's a track car. It doesn't have a cage yet, but with the exception of one time, I always tow it to the track because you never know what's going to happen at the track. If you drive your vehicle to the track and you have an incident, you have a wheel bearing failure, and your whole hub and everything burn up and fly off the vehicle, even if you don't crash it, how are you going to fix it to get it home? So towing it to the track so you can tow it home is definitely the better option.
So in addition, I know of at least one person who has died driving their car to the track when it had a cage because they got into a very light accident, but a very light accident causes your head to hit a roll cage.
That are not forgiving.
Not forgiving.
No. So it is much safer to tow it unless you want to drive to the track. If you want to be safe, you're going to drive to the track in your gear with your helmet on, your Hans device, and your belts on correctly, just like you were racing on the track. Otherwise, a light accident could turn into your last accident, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, I personally would not drive a street legal car with a roll cage in it on the road without being prepared like I was going on the track.
Right. And if you do that, I would expect that you will get attention from certain lit police cars. I mean, cars.
Yeah.
That will have questions for you, which you may not want to answer.
I mean, if you're driving around the paddock and you're driving literally across the street to get fuel or something, I mean, that's one thing, but I'm not going to drive
Public streets.
public streets from here, for a 30 to 45-minute drive. Typically, I'm not going to do that without a helmet on in a caged car.
Yes.
You
I
know,
know.
outside of safety issues, I can't imagine that would be in any way comfortable given the status of the streets, anywhere in our vicinities, right?
Not where we live. No, Audra, absolutely not. I mean, if
No.
you're in Florida or something where the roads are pretty flat, I mean, that might be different, but not up here. Not in New England.
No, not for sure. So don't be dumb. We've taken care of that for you. We've tried to ask all the dumb questions and
Yep.
cover them. In part 2, we will go over things that are a little bit more fun, like connecting your vehicle, your race car to the tow vehicle or the towing trailer. We'll talk about security, some safety stuff, loading, unloading, balancing.
Yep.
Nice things to add to your trailer to make your life much less miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, again,
options.
it's all, and I keep saying this, but it's what's going to suit your needs. My team, our team and the other team that I'm part of may have different needs, right? So the way we load, the way we do things is going to be different. The safety aspect, you should always, whether, however you get to it, you should always have the end result of that it is very safe. Loading the car on the trailer, what you want to bring with you, all that kind of stuff is all going to be different for everybody. Things work different. So things that I like to do when I tow or like to, check or do this or do that, maybe somebody else doesn't need to do that, or they've done it once and that works for them. It's all personal preference. It's all about being safe. So please, if you have something that you want to add, or you do for what you do that we may have missed, or you think that we're not doing something correctly, please email us. Social media
training at gmail.com.
Hit us up on Facebook, on Instagram. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your thoughts are, what you want to add. If you have questions, if you want to get into doing this kind of thing, please ask those questions.
If you had an issue,
or if you have a fun story you want to tell.
Story time is our favorite time.
We love story time. So if you've got a great story, hit us up. It may turn into you coming on the podcast and telling us this amazing story you have.
All right. So story time, quick story. Miss Audra, towing, trailering, packing, anything? Got a story time yet? Or have you been 100% all over it since the beginning?
Oh, no, not even. I got the trailer, the car is in the trailer. It's moved a couple of different times. It's moved poorly to my parents' house, and there may be some, need for landscapers in the spring to fix a little something that I may have done.
little schwabby.
That's fantastic.
Backing it up is not nearly as easy as it looks on TV.
So
No,
I will give you a piece of advice that you can learn how to back up a trailer. My grandfather was a tractor trailer truck driver. So when I was younger, that's just what our family did is, we towed trailers, we did all kinds of stuff, right? But I wasn't allowed to drive a truck with a trailer attached to it until I could back our lawnmower with the lawnmower trailer attached to it up and down our driveway, which was a quarter mile long, 3 times without moving forward to fix the trailer. If you can back up a small trailer, a lawnmower with a trailer attached to it, you can back up a 53-foot tractor trailer truck. So get on your lawnmower, hook a little trailer up to it, and back it around your yard. That is the best practice advice that I can give anybody.
I'd still not be trailering then.
No, I'm telling you, you will, Bill. I'm telling you.
You said if I can't do that, then I can't trailer. I said I'd still not be trailering right now.
No, you would. You just practice. You practice. I'm telling you, small trailers are so much harder. I have a 6x10 trailer. I have a 5x8 trailer. I have a 6x. an 8x14 trailer, and those are far harder to back up than my 20-foot race car trailer.
All right, Jeremy, you got the ball. What's your trailer tales of woe?
I really don't have many.
We
I've
make
never,
up for it then.
knock on wood, I've never hit anything with a trailer.
Nope, got that one.
I have never lost a trailer attached to a vehicle.
Got that one too.
I think, and I don't even want to talk
Car never
about
came
this.
loose.
Knock on wood, I've never had a car come loose. I did have a strap break. You know what? Actually, I do have a trail. I do have a story. I do have a bad one.
There we go.
Yeah, I do have a bad one. So years ago, we were traveling from Naples, Florida, up to Amesbury, Massachusetts, and we had my wife's SUV, and we were towing my little 5x8 aluminum trailer with my motorcycle on the trailer. We're coming through New York, and we're going over the GW. And
The George Washington Bridge does not exist. What is with you people?
It does not. This was a long time ago, Bill.
Still.
So we're coming over the GW, and I'm checking the mirrors because I'm deathly afraid that my bike is gonna, take one over the edge of the trailer. And all of a sudden, I look up in the trailer in the rearview mirror, and my motorcycle is doing this. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
For the non-video podcast people.
It's okay. Oh yeah, video, no video. It's leaning, it's leaning and slowly leaning towards the edge of the trailer. So we were off the GW, we were almost into Connecticut, and I pull over right in the middle of the road where there's like an on-ramp is coming in, but it's kind of a weird intersection kind of thing. And I pull over like right over to it, and I jump out, and a strap had broken on the right front.
Mm-hmm.
And so the bike was leaning over. Luckily, I had, what did I have? I had something in the trailer. I had some totes in the trailer. And luckily, the bike had leaned against the totes instead of flopping over onto the edge of the trailer. Because if it flopped all the way over, it would have broken the rear strap, and the thing would have come out of the trailer.
Don't do this at home.
So from then on, every time I stopped, I always checked straps in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hadn't checked them. I had not checked them. I hadn't even looked at them the entire way from Florida to New York. And I didn't think about it. I just assumed, hey, it's strapped in. It's good to go. So, yeah. Nope.
Good.
From then on, I always checked them, make sure they're tight, made sure that nothing was fraying or rubbing on anything to be able to cut. That was my one issue with towing.
You know what the most flexible, stretchable thing in the world is?
Putty.
No. A wet tow strap. Apparently, that stuff can stretch like 5 times its length, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. Wet straps do stretch. Yep.
Don't know why.
It doesn't make sense.
No, doesn't. Shouldn't.
Nope.
Well, it's no fun explaining some of our ridiculousness related to towing without Miss Vicky here to make fun of me. So I will hold ours for part 2 coming soon.
Yeah, we'll hold some more fun stuff for part 2. We'll talk about some other things. And we'll look at our list, and if there's stuff we missed, which I'm sure there is, we'll add it into part 2, and we'll continue on.
You know what my favorite part about this was? When you said when you agreed to do this, you're like, well, maybe we'll just do it for Dominating with Dawson because it'll be short.
No, and that's my own stupidity.
Jeremy, you don't realize how many ways we can do things wrong, Jeremy.
I know, and that's the thing is I've been doing it so long that I don't think about like a lot of the basic things, like making sure you have the correct size ball, making sure, like just these things I don't think about because I just do it, right? So, we start when I saw the list that you had written out, I was like, wow, this is going to be a lot longer than I thought.
So if you have any trailer towing stories, love to hear them. If you have anything that we need to cover, love to hear it.
Yep. Any suggestions?
That's right.
Any suggestions, things that you do, or things that you think that we missed or whatever,
or places that you prefer to buy stuff. Like if you don't like buying your tow straps at Home Depot and you like buying them at Snap and Turtle or wherever you like to go.
Yep.
or brands or things. E-trailer, perhaps.
Yep. Yep.
Miss Audra, are you looking forward to the next one? You said you couldn't contribute,
Absolutely.
but yes, you did.
Shockingly.
Exactly.
No, cut it out.
That's right.
Take
You
a
always
look,
have good
re-listen, isn't
questions.
it?
That's right.
Yeah, I always can question something. I know nothing.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about, having you on with us is that you are still fairly new to all of this stuff. So it's great that the questions you ask, it's great to have those on here because it's things that I don't really think about sometimes because it's just things that we do normally. And so those questions are great. And
It's
you're fun to
awesome.
have on anyway.
Absolutely. And we're only 3 months away from towing, so
Rather-
we got to get our stuff together.
Yeah, we do. Oh my God.
Very well.
All right.
Until part 2.
Until
Thank you,
part 2.
everybody.
Thank you so much.